All right, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. It is Friday, April 11th, and about a month since I've been able to come out here and do more videos. So I've been doing this for a long time. Go through our YouTube channel, you'll see 20 plus years of videos amongst the two YouTube, mainly on this channel. We had another channel before when we were Highline 4x4. So, and every year over the last couple of years, or last 20 years at least, we've kind of grown. So we were able to buy Jeeps Unlimited in 2014. And then eventually that became Parts Breakers, which is over here. This Jeeps Unlimited is still the parent company. So anyway, without further ado, I'm showing you a 87 to 95 YJ frame for a 6-cylinder. So that's going to be either a 4.2 or 4.0. They're the same for those two. This is would be an A+, however, it's been modified. Anytime we get a modified frame, we discount them. Just because we are a traditional OEM yard, you know, where some people would go, wow, that's what I'm looking for. You know, we look at it and go, well, it's been modified from originality, so we'll take off for those things. Now, some of those things on this particular frame are actually a pretty good upgrade. And one I would even recommend, whether you do this frame or not, if you're wanting a smoother ride on a YJ, the easiest way to do that is to do what they call a shackle reversal. You can look it up online. So that's been done on this. You can see they welded the purchase. They basically take the fixed point of the frame where your leaf springs, your shackle moves, and normally it's on the front where it moves, and then your fixed point becomes the rear. So when you do the reversal, it becomes opposite. In a sense, the theory is that your axles, as you hit bumps, are moving together. And instead of binding in your ass, which is usually what happens, you feel them, especially you hit a bad speed bump, railroad tracks, pothole, you're in a YJ and old CJ, you really feel that right here. So that does help a lot. And it's one of the most significant suspension changes you can make. Some of these kits are bolt-on. This one's a bolt-on. And then I don't know if they went and did these are actually factory front mounts, so maybe they did their own style. But nonetheless, I would still weld this front on, and I wouldn't just rely on the bolts to hold that carriage on there. It's probably okay, but if it was me, I'd weld on. Plus, if you look, and this is one of the reasons I do my videos, and I'll tell you other reasons here in a second. But see these ears that come across, so they kind of bolt in here, and really this should be clamped down a little harder. There's a bolt that goes through here. This should be welded back to this bracing, so just real nice and strong. If you don't do that, then you can see the ears busted off on this one. So this is still a good mount, but this one would almost have to be welded or just repurchase the mount and just use bolt-on if that's what you're going for. You're going to have to do stuff to this frame no matter what. So I would say probably what you ought to do. Now, this is kind of a funny frame, and as I'm videoing this, I'm seeing more and more. Part of the reason I do videos, guys, well, first off, let me tell you real quick. Most of our Jeeps come in under their own power. We have 7 acres here in Grand Junction, Colorado. Not all of them, but most of them. And the reason we like them like that is so we can test the mechanics of them, the motor, the tranny, transfer case, yada, yada, yada. The other reason is, of course, we want to make sure we get nice, clean, straight frames. But even then, we still measure them because you never know in the course of a history if it's ever been in a fender bender or enough of a hit, it would have been something. So this one's been measured, and then on top of that, we scope them all. And that's, again, just because like it sounds, I mean, it can look real pretty on the outside, although usually, as long as it hasn't been doctored up, and doctored, I mean somebody re-spray painting it, that's totally fine to do, but don't you want to see it as it was when it was pulled, versus, lipstick on a pig kind of thing. So just things that we like to do. And in that turn, we do like to scope them and just make sure areas that, especially in YJs, they like to eat themselves out right around this area on your belly pan. You can see it's got some oxidation there, maybe even a little surface from the skid plate, but the bolt holes are all clean. And even the original paint's even in between. So that's an excellent shape. Again, overall, the frame, if it wasn't for the mods they made on it, this frame would definitely be up there in the A range, because you can see this is literally factory paint from whatever year, 87, 95. I don't remember exactly what this one came off of, but nonetheless. So, and then I do want to point out, other than one of the bottom ones, which is sold, we have a couple more. And the guys have been busy doing dismantles. I think we even have a couple in the line. But as far as super clean frames, I think we're down to, like, if you want just an A+, it's going to be probably the second to the bottom there that's available. And the other two are probably going to be A's as well, but maybe lower A's. And again, they're still factory paint on those. I'll show those later if we get to them. But let's go back to this guy real quick. So in listing this with videos, and this is one of my crucial points in doing it, not only do you get to see this frame as if you're standing here next to me, but the other thing it does is as I'm rolling through this, and this happens when I wash it too, I start noticing things, sometimes good things, sometimes bad things, sometimes weird things. This one's got a little bit of weird things. For example, these shackles here, I know these kits really well because I put these on a lot. This is a factory set of perches. And what I thought is they probably just ordered a factory set off of Crown, or thanks buddy, or Omex or Amazon, whatever, and then welded them on. No, I don't think that's what they did, because as I was washing this thing and videoing it, I realized that the rear mounts are missing. So, and those are definitely looks like they knocked them off. Now, I don't know why they would have done that, because it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul here, because you'd end up having to have mounts back here if you're going to be using YJ. Now, they might have been going down the road of, let's do a shackle reversal and maybe some sort of 4 or 5 link on the rear, but why would they do that on the rear and not the front? So in the Jeep world of things, there's just some things you just don't understand sometimes, and you just have to live with that. And in this case, that's kind of how it is. So I don't know why they did what they did. Here's the fixed spot, and this is the spot that would have looked just like that up there. That's all factory, okay? And then again, this would have looked just like this. Matter of fact, you can kind of see it here. There's your top, and if you've looked at yours, you know exactly what it looks like. And those are all factory. None of those have shackle reversals on them. So, and this one, it's got, again, they did the front, but then back here, they did a little bit of screwy stuff. Maybe they just thought they didn't need them. I don't know. But the hole there that's factory. That's where your top of your, well, we can look at one. No, I take that back. There isn't something missing back there. Maybe they had something back there. Okay, so I'm wrong. This is, you think you've been doing this long enough, but it just, there was something missing there. So this is actually okay. All right, we're better than I thought. But it is missing this arm. I knew that for sure. This little leg or wing that comes out here. And it is an important one, so you would have to probably replace this back support on that frame. Now, the good news is about that support, that whole channel there, is it's available new, and they're not very expensive. They're like $40. So we can get you one of those if you decide. The other option would be just to put some plate steel and bring this out on that one, at least the top. You probably want to do the bottom if you ever plan on putting a bumper or the bumperettes back on like you see there. And again, why they did that, I'm not sure. But this is what I was noticing and what made me think it was missing something else down here. But in turn, it wasn't missing anything. Maybe what they did is got confused and thought this was the front and started the shackle reverse. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, again, we're looking at a nice, clean, rust-free frame that's got a little bit of goofiness, and you'll save some money for the goofiness. And if you want to save some money for the goofiness, fantastic. And if you don't, that's okay. I got a couple over here, and I'll get them posted probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have time tonight to do them, but we definitely will get them put up, okay? These videos tend to be about 15, 20 minutes. And I'm not a super funny guy, so I mean, maybe I think I am, but my wife would beg to differ most times. So, a little bit of the funness in this frame, we're not going to see that. It's going to be pretty bland from here on out, okay? All right. Now, I'm picking these up one-handed. They're not very heavy. People always kind of give these things a lot more credit than they deserve. Try to drag that back over to the concrete here. They're really not heavy. You can, in younger years, I could pick these up with a little hoist or shoulder hoist I built by myself. And I can still do it, but I can't carry them like I used to be able to. I used to pick them up in the center and just kind of balance it out. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. But 2 people can easily move these things around. And so when we are on our hot shots get out there, you can offload it with him. Now the tubs, when people order tubs from us, they're a little heavier, but they're not that much. They're probably about double the weight of a frame. And at the moment, we have no pulled YJ tubs. I think we might have 2 that are pending pulling. that are in A+ shape, and then the rest of them are probably going to be Bs for anybody else out there looking for a tub as well. And tubs usually run a little bit more. The frames are usually the more inexpensive part, at least for the YJs. So, that's the color, huh? This is Brandon, our painter. Hi, Brandon.
What up?
And anyway, we have a paint booth, and we're doing a big project. That actually came out pretty good, man. It's got a little speckles of dust in there.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect.
But that's the color.
Yeah.
So this is a Jeep that we have from Chicago. Guy shipped us his Jeep, and that does happen from time to time. We don't do a lot of service work, and we're a little selective with it, but when we have good customers, and they're not in a huge hurry, because we're not the fastest shop when it comes to service work, but we'll let them do it that way. So this is kind of a full frame off on an old CJ Renegade. That's the color his daughter chose, and actually it's a pretty cool color. I like it. It's definitely not as bright as that orange we were looking at the other day. So it's a Toyota color. What do they call that? Lava something?
Hot lava metallic.
Hot lava metallic. So anyway, you guys can follow along. There's some videos on that project, and hopefully we'll have that one maybe done by the summer. Starting on the next one. We have another one from LA we're doing. They're both fairly big builds, so, and unique in themselves. So anyway, all right, well, I'm gonna wrap this one up. The top's pretty boring. There's nothing too fancy. It's got a couple little weird arms on it up here. You can knock those off, or we can do it. I don't know what they go to. They might have had some sort of accessory on it. Not quite sure. I've seen a few of those little weird things on it, but the pockets are clean. Even your top, look at all your little mount holes. There's 11 of those total on a frame, 10 on the body. One goes on the front clip up here. I haven't been able to pound. Oh, that one come off now. Okay, cool. And the guys tend to take pry bars if they get a bolt that breaks loose in the tub. So I'll bang that back out for you. But the pockets, even here, this is even up in our area where we don't get rust. These almost always have a lot of flake in and surface back in them. There's a little bit in here, but almost perfect. And same here on this one. So this is just the cover. It runs your brake lines, your fuel lines that run down it. This one I will have to beat out. I tried like heck to pull that one, but get a sledge and pop it out. And then, yeah, that's about it. So again, there's your little ears there, and be pretty simple. You don't have to, it's a shame to replace that whole sub cross member, because it's really nice cross member. You could just put a little extension out on the tops of those. But again, that's going to go to the guy that wants to mess with welding stuff or mess with that period. If you're putting a heavy duty bumper on, your bumper, depending on which bumper you go with, might actually have, because a lot of times the bumpers sleeve these to where your tub is now mounting to your bumper, and that might take care of that as well. So it just depends on what you're doing. But if you're going back to the bumperettes, you're definitely going to want those. And again, I can send you a link to those, to that rear piece if you like. I know Crown sells them, and there's probably a few others out there, but they're the closest to OEM when it comes to some of this stuff without being garbage. There's a lot of stuff out there that's garbage, and you just are better off buying used. But anyway, all right, well, I'm gonna get some top photos, get this thing fired up, get it uploaded. It'll probably be an hour before it's 5 o'clock now, so maybe 6 o'clock. We'll have it photoed and ready to go, listed, videoed. And my
5 p.m. to 5:59 p.m. tomorrow.
Watch is listening to me. Anyway, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Anything else you might need, things to look at on yours, your gas tank skid, okay? Those oftentimes, if your frame's rotted, those are usually rotted right behind them. The belly pan itself, again, you've seen how it kind of can get flaky. That's actually really clean, but it can get even worse. And usually they kind of have an inverted dome on those, the way that the bolt goes up. Usually those will get so bad that they just want to fall right off, and they're only holding on by the transmission mount. We got some really clean ones of those. I think there's 1 or 2 left of those. You see this big old yard, and you think there's probably hundreds of that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff goes quick. The peripheral stuff is what we sell a lot of, and very fast. The frames, the tubs, they go quick, and whatnot. Harnesses, ECMs, all that jazz. So lots of good parts out here. Just let us know what else you might need. And little stuff we can always ship you, but I would recommend on your bigger items, especially those skids, if you do happen to need them, get them shipped with the frame, because it doesn't increase the cost of the freight at all. And otherwise you're spending $80-90 later for a skid plate to get shipped out to you. So, but we're more than happy to do that stuff, and we do it all the time. So, all right, thanks a lot and have a great day.